Recording. All right, so this is our front end session, and uh, we have we have discussed some fun stuff in our front end part as well. And by the way, as some of you were asking, you will be just right after this class getting our QAP1 of this like course, and that would really be available to you. Okay, so this is our week 3, and we have talked about some of the interesting aspects of HTML. We have seen different elements. Yesterday, we just looked at the tables as well. We just talked about the table have this these tags. So today I'll just quickly have a quick round of the table, and then I'll just move to our next topic, which is going to be interesting. Good afternoon, Manny. Okay, so let's run this one. So we were running this page, and we remember that we had all these things over here, links and everything. So we are on time. So we have, this is not an informal anymore. So we talked about some of the things. We talked about the forms towards the end, and we saw that forms are a really interesting one. We can create forms to get data from the user. Then we talked about the tables, and I talked about it towards the end. I talked about the validations and things like that. So the thing that I want to discuss before we just wrap this one up, in tables, we have some semantical tags as well, semantical elements as well. And I would like to talk about those semantical elements in table. So you would have seen, I don't know if you have seen or not, there is one called T head that typically represents the head section of the table. And again, this should definitely go in the head section because that's the heading of the table that I want to put in. So T head semantically makes up semantically it might not have any effect graphically user interface wise. And you remember towards the end I just told you as well that validation of the document will tell you table should like border should not be used, never be used over here. Rather you should use CSS to do this happening, like this should be done by the CSS. So I'll not use that one. So I told you that when you submit a document there should be no red color element or red color attribute, because that shows that you have you have used an obsolete thing over there. Anyhow, so T head. And one more thing that I would like to tell you, if I just show you the running of this page, the table part, and this is the table part. And now you see that of course there is no lining because I've just taken away that. Not even that, we have another element that we say TH. So TH is used for table head or table heading, that we use as an element level. Why? Because it would do, look at that, what it will do. If I hit save, you see that the text goes bold. So it makes it really heading. So T head is the header part of the document, of the table. And then comes another part, which is called T body. So T body generally has, the body of the document, and that generally might have, the TD and all the TDs and everything. So you can say ln@gmail.com, something like that. So now I can just, continue to make this table, and I can make multiple rows in T body. So that I just wanted to tell you that I hope you guys know about this one, that these are actually, the styling which is coming over here is from Bootstrap. Remember, the water CSS. It's not something. If I take away the style from here, that our table will now then look like the real. And again, P align is equal to center. I'd give you another example. I will never want to have that one. So this water CSS is doing all this for us. If I just, make it a comment, and we look at the table, then we'll know what is the original table. So this is the original table, without the styling. So anyhow, this was the styling was doing that for us. So let me select that one and uncomment that. So yes, so this is something that I just wanted to tell you, that tables have T head and T body. And please keep in mind that you will have, you can make those semantical sections of a table as well. And that would really be a good idea. Sometimes you will need that to make that one, right? Now, having said that, today what we are about to start is basically I'll start talking about CSS because you have done that CSS, but I would like to just talk about some of the very important aspects of CSS. And for that, what I'm doing, rather than pages, I'll just create a new file and maybe I'll call it notes.txt, which is in week 3, right? So CSS, and I'll very quickly go there. What is that CSS? Cascading style sheet. Now, what is cascading style sheet? Ever since HTML5 was introduced, the burden of styling was all shifted to CSS. And that's why we see that validations and it says that border should not be used directly, rather border should be applied by using the CSS. Cascading style sheets. So cascading style sheets were used typically to make things better. And that would really see all those things. So now, if I just talk about this one, that what is the CSS? So CSS makes things so much different, so much good. I'd like to show you something. You would have seen that one maybe. There is a page called CSS Zen Garden. Have you guys seen this CSS Zen Garden before? This is a very interesting page, CSS Zen Garden. And it will tell us the beauty or the importance of the CSS. Did you guys see that before, Zen Garden? So what this does is that it has given some. Okay, you guys have seen that one. So it's basically, yeah, they're wonderful. So this basically just tells you a lot of we just make some numbers and it shows us the same text with the different styling. So CSS can make so many wonderful things. If you go to W3 um, schools CSS tutorial, you will find there as well. They have given a very nice example as well. If I say start learning CSS. So what is CSS? You see that it says that this is the home page and it has multiple style sheets over here. And if I want to apply that different style sheets, you see, yes. If I click on that one, you see the style sheet, different style sheet is applied. If I click on this one, different style sheet is applied, different style sheet and no style sheet. Do you see that? So style sheet can play a wonderful thing and you guys have seen that. Now, very quickly, what style sheet is and what styles are, they have the rules. And what are the rules? We have, first of all, the thing that is come like in the rule, we have a selector. You know about that. And I'll answer some of the questions that people asked and the declaration. Now, to make this understand very quickly, I don't know if you guys have used this one or not. There is a website, maybe he showed you or not, codepen.io. Did you guys use this CodePen? It's a very interesting one, just-in-time compilation. CodePen. Okay, Jennifer says no. Now see here, you will find it very interesting because I want to show you that something. So here we can write HTML. So for example, I write H1. Hello, I am H1. So by the time we write something, you will see the output in the bottom, like on the output screen at the bottom. And this is quite interesting one. And now I would like to tell you, I can write CSS over here. You know, the CSS syntax basically consists of a rule. First of all, there comes selector. So H1 is the selector, followed by curly brackets, where we give the styling rules. And I want to tell you something that you need to remember. If I say H1 color red, do you see that very quickly I can see the output over here? And that's quite an interesting thing because, just in time compilation, just in time, I can check, okay, how does it look like, how it is basically behaving or whatever. When we have, so this is called a CSS rule where we have a selector and then followed by the rules. Make sense, everyone? Selector followed by the rules. This rule might be, I can give multiple rules. I can say, for example, font size, and there are multiple units. I'll talk about that. So I'll say font size 12 pixel. It goes very short. If I say 120 pixel, I can quickly see that impact. So very important, just in time running, just in time, checking of styles. We can just do that right now. And we can do that. So this is called selector. I hope you know selector. And this is called the rule followed by the, and there are attributes come inside the rule, which have this key value mapping, the key and the value, key and the value. And there are lots of attributes that we can work on. And you would have worked too much, like, you would have worked on a lot of them. Now, I'll talk about how many ways we can use CSS style on our page. But before that, I would like to tell you something interesting. The types of these selectors. Types of selectors. This is very important. If you understand that, you understand a lot of CSS. Types of selectors. So there are different types of selector. The first is called tag/type selector. Tag/type selector. What does that mean? When you use a tag name, just the name of the tag, it is called tag selector or type selector. And then you follow by the rule. Make sense, everyone? The tag, the name of the tag followed by this one. This is called tag selector. Then comes the other one, which is called, again, someone asked this question, class selector. What is class selector? Class selector is a very interesting one. I'll show you here. If I define something with a dot, for example, I say dot demo, and I define a style, color green. Now I'll just take away this size. It's very, very big, right? So I've defined a class dot demo. Now I have multiple elements here. I have an h2. I am h2. I have paragraph. I am paragraph. And up to so on, whatever. Now, if we define a class selector with dot, so someone was asking what is the difference between class and ID. So see here, if I come here and I say P class is equal to demo and I hit enter, do you see that I get I am paragraph in green? The benefit of class is that we can apply class to multiple elements. See here. Now, of course, its color was red, but now class has overridden the color. And I'll talk about how this overriding happens. But anyhow, so now it says like it has implemented the class of that one. Are you guys getting that one? Class can be used with multiple things. I can say h2 class is equal to, I can make another element. I can say div class equal to demo. This is a div. You got it? So it can implement. So everyone can implement this class. So the benefit of classes and how to define class, whenever we have a same design that we want to apply to multiple sections, we define class of that one. And it is called class selector. So class selector, we define a class with a period. Dot demo, for example. I'm just giving an example here so that you remember. Dot demo, right? So this is called class selector. So you would have seen a lots of style. I would like to show you maybe one of them, one more them. So I say, for example, text decoration. There are some related to text. If I say text decoration and I say underline and I say, for example, blue, and I can give the color of that underline as well. So you see that text decoration underline blue. I have a text decoration everywhere where class is implemented. This will be green with a blue line. So I can remove the class from somewhere because it won't hurt anything. And I just take away. So my div becomes without a style of class. Make sense? Now, after that, we have the third type is called ID selector. Now, my question, did you guys know about with the names with this ID selectors? I did once discuss with them their names, like what is this class selector, what is this ID selector, and I'll be talking about some more selectors as well, by the way. Did you guys know this way, or you were taught in a bit different way? I did not hear from anyone. Okay, anyhow, so ID selector. So what is an ID selector? Oh, personally you did. Okay, not personally. I'm just asking about that one. Now, what is the ID selector? If we define a style with hash. So for example, I say hash something, hash some way. So this is, I'll tell you, what is that? Color, for example, blue, and background color. For example, I say yellow, very bad. So when you define something with hash, remember, I would be happy to to understand. Hash has a problem, not problem. Hash has a property that only one element can apply this style. So if I come here and I say h2, so it is for the ID. ID is equal to sum. Now, see here, it is a blue color. Remember, ID style is just defined to be used once on the web page because uh, on a web page, ID should be unique for every element. Daniel, does that make sense what I'm trying to say? So if you have defined this hash, even though HTML is so friendly, it can, if I say ID is equal to sum, I can do that. And it will never give me an error or something. And it has given that also blue. But yes. So do you know that actually this ID is only for one element. There should be no two elements with the same ID. Is that point making sense to everyone? I'll write it over here. There should be no two. Okay. So let me just write that here. ID means we define style with hash. Like for example, I have just defined a style hash sum. You style the style. And remember, only one element can use it, as ID should be unique for each element. Are you guys getting that one? So that's, remember, ID selectors. Now here comes another very important one that I will be using a lot. Contextual selector, the next one. Contextual selector. What do you mean by contextual selector? This is quite interesting and you will enjoy that one. So I have this div. Let's do something. Inside this div, I am saying there is an h1. And I'll close this h1, by the way. H1, and I have a P here as well inside div P, and this is div H1. Now you see that when I say H1 red, so I'll just take away, for example, I'll just remove this ID and demo class right now for the purpose of simplicity. So I have just H1. So all the H1s on the page have become red. Make sense? All the H1, of course, they should be, because I have said H1 color should be red. But if I come here and I write something, I write div space H1. Who will tell me that you understand what has happened now? This is no more red now. Why? Because this H1 is not inside div. So when we write div space, like any element space the other element, we are saying that it should be inside that one. So we are saying H1 inside div should be of color red. Does that make sense to you guys? It's called contextual selection. Contextual selection. Now, I'll give you another example. There is a paragraph outside. Oh, Jennifer, div is just for making page divisions or page sections. Right now, just understand. We use that for making a page section, for applying a style or something, So now if I just write P and I say in the P color blue, so you see that this P is blue and this P is blue. Both P's are blue because this is a paragraph inside div. This is a paragraph without div. Now, if I come over here and I write div space P, div space P, look at that. Now this paragraph is no more blue. Jennifer, did you get this concept of contextual selector? So when some element is within some other element and we apply style to that. Some element within other element. This is called contextual selectors. Yes, exactly. Mitchell, this is the one. This is the idea. Number 5. After contextual selector, we can group selectors. What does that mean? Grouping selectors. I'll go back to my page. Sorry. Oh, I'll go back to my this one. I'll come here and I'll say, for example, if I remove this one, like I'm just defining a style all over. So I can collect. So for example, I can say div, comma, P. should have the same style. Div comma P. You see, the paragraph has only gone red, I am paragraph, and all the div has gone P. Are you guys getting that one? We can collect multiple, elements, and we can give a same style to multiple elements. Are you guys getting that one? So that's basically what that is, that apply style to multiple elements. So I can do something like this. I say h1 comma h2 comma h3. All of them, not really as a class, Jennifer, but it is just, see here. For example, I'm saying h1, h2, h3. Whenever they come, they should be of color red, color blue, for example. So whenever h1, so wherever h1, h2, h3 will come, they will all be of the same. So it's not like a class. It's actually the other way around. We are collecting some of the elements, selectors, and we are saying that these selectors should have a particular style being applied. Make sense, everyone? Okay, that's wonderful. So you guys are getting that one. Right. So now let's move forward and let's see some other. So grouping selectors is done. And then, as someone was asking, I think Jennifer, you were asking this question, or someone was asking question. So we actually make the containers for styling. This is div is a container for styling. So what is interesting about this div, that we can just say, for example, this div should have a style applied, and div has a style of color, again, green. And I don't want any other thing. So this all div will have a typical style. So it will become container for styling. It is one container. And how about if I want to apply a typical style to just this div word, for example, out of it, or maybe this h2, I'll come here. You remember I talk about that one, span ID, span, and maybe I can say span ID is equal to P1, the point one. So I give this h2 inside this, and I put a span. Now see here, I've given an ID to just h2, for example, and I come here and I say hash P1, apply the style, font size 120 pixel. Look at that. Are you guys getting that one? You can particularly, so this is container. So this is a inline container. Can you only style a particular div when you have multiple div? Yes, Manny, that's a wonderful question. And Manny, for that, what we'll do? That's an interesting question. But Manny, in those situations, we generally do what? We give an ID to the div. So for example, I'll say ID is equal to, for example, D1. So ID is equal to D1. I've just given the ID is equal to D1 to this one. You know what I mean? And let me just close that one, Manny. And I'll just, if I say div is equal to this one, it will just apply to that one, right? But if I just, not write div, rather I write hash D1. So now it would be applied to D1, where D1 is applied. And if I use another div, hello div, it won't be applied to that one. You see hello div has no style applied. Manny, do you got it? Do you get it? This is actually, if you have multiple divs, you will have to give the ID to that one. Wonderful. Wonderful. Now, where to put the CSS? This is just a quick check. CSS can be placed in different places on an HTML page. Where to put CSS? Now, number one is inline CSS. Number two is internal CSS. And number three is external CSS, most widely used. I'll write star, right? Most widely we use this external CSS. Now, what is inline CSS? And I will take this same example of the document that we are working on. What is internal CSS? So for example, I come here and I say, for example, in this, I'll go to the top of the page. So I say, I want to apply some style to this lorem ipsum word only, or maybe this paragraph only. So I'll come here and I'll say style equal to inverted commas, and I'll write the property. So I'll say background color, and I can select from this one, blue. And then after terminator, I'll say color white. Make sense? And I'll hit save after I'll show you this to you. So now, if I hit save here, look at the top paragraph. I have just applied the style to this paragraph. This is called inline styling. Make sense, everyone? Style is equal to when we define the style within the tag. So this H3, which is coming over here, and I say, and I just copy this maybe, for example, don't want to type again and again. So I'll just copy this. So for this H1, I say, H3, I say that I want to apply a style here, and I say this one, hit save. You see that only this H3 has been applied. This is called inline styling. Make sense, everyone? This is called inline styling, and you would have done this inline styling. I'm supposing that you would have done that. Inline style within the element declaration. Make sense, everyone? Inline style. What is internal styling? Number 2. That's very interesting. Internal styling. What is internal styling? I'll just show you. I'm just closing the rest of them. Internal styling means you go to the head. You go to the head and you use a style element. Style element. And here you define some style. So for example, you say H2. The design of the H2 should be color red. Let's do that. And I hit save. Now, let's see if some H2 has gone red. You see, this H2 is red now. This H2 is red now. And why not the first H2 is red? Anyone can tell me why this internal linking is not gone red? Because this H2, if I just show you, this was internal linking, right? Because this this is H3, by the way. This is H2. Sorry, this is H3, by the way. So now this is H2 and this has gone red. Are you getting that? Now, how about this one? If I say H3 and color green, if I do that, so H3, this is H3 external linking, and let's come back over here. This is also H3 internal linking, external internal linking. Why it has not gone green? Can anyone tell me why it is not green? It is still white. Because there is inline style with this H3. And inline always overrides the internal style. And internal style always overrides the external style. I'll talk about that. Did you guys make sense of the statement I'm making over here? I hope you are making a sense. Always inline has the highest priority. Inline style will take over all the previous one. Then internal has the higher priority than the external one. So it will take over that one. Valentine, thank you. Does everyone understand what I'm trying to say? So for example, if I just take away this inline style from here, if I take away this inline style from here and I hit save, you see that it has also gone green. Yes, so it's not messy. It's sometimes very needy. You need that. You will need that a lot of time. I'll talk about that one, right? Okay. Now see here, a very practical use of the styling before we go to the external style. I can define a class and I can call it for like, or maybe say main. I just define a class called main. Rather, main is a word that element is also used. So I'll say, so for example, top, for example, top level class. So I say font size, again, 120 pixel and text decoration, underline, something like that. I do that. So I just given this class dot top. Now, very practical usage. Whenever I use an H1, I give them ID is equal to top. So see, ID is equal, not ID, not ID will work, class equal to top. So if I say class is equal to top, you see the first one has gone, H1 has gone, H1 has gone so big. I would not like to do that because that would be. So I'll keep it ID is equal to top because ID, it can have an ID, but if you want to apply. So all H2s, I want to apply this style class. So I say class is equal to top. Do you guys understand? It has the font size has gone 120 pixel, which is looking rather very bad. So what I'll do is that I'll try to make it a little that it is acceptable. Let's do that. 30 is good. So now I say that whenever H2 comes, H2 has to have a class of top. Are you guys getting that one? So if I come here, wherever I have an H2, I'll just check that one. Where is the H2? The other H2? I'll just find out. It's H3 by the way over here. Let's come back to H2. Oh my God. So let's come back over here and here is H2. So I say class is equal to top. Now, when I do class is equal to top, performs in HTML. Okay. Oh, why the size has gone again big, even though I made it 30. Oh, 3 centimeter it has become 30 pixel. It has gone 3 centimeters, right? So if you look at that, it will become like all the headings, they will have the class applied to them. The font size is wherever you will apply that. The text decoration, 30 pixel font size and the underline, the font size. Make sense, everyone? I hope you guys are understanding that one because this is now this is the internal style sheet. So as Mitchell said, some people don't like to have style over here. It's up to you. It's purely up to you. I'll take it away. The most appropriate way or the third way of applying styles is external style sheet. So internal, when we define style in the head section. External style is the most appropriate one. And for you, I will just tell you, you remember I told you in Pages, I'll make a folder and I'll call it styles folder. And in that styles folder, I'll create a new file and I'll call it style.css. It should be CSS extension. And we define the styles over here. So for example, I say H1. So without anything, you just start writing style. Color red. And let's say H1, H2, H3. I'll just writing this one. All three should have a color red. Now, how to connect this to my index.html? I'll come back to my index.html. Over here, I'll use the link tag, link, and /styles. In the style folder, there is a file called style.css. Now, if I apply that, you see that all H1, H2, H3 have gone red. Of course, you know, most of the people would prefer external file for CSS, of course, and on JS, right? And that's a wonderful thing. But again, just remember that try to maintain your folder. Now you see that Pages have a folder styles and styles have that style. In the same way, pictures folder will have pictures and so and so forth. We will have all those kind of things over there. Now, one thing that I would like to talk about, I don't know if you guys have heard about that or not. Units. What are the units in CSS? And they are very important. I want to discuss it because I would be using that unit thing a lot of times. So I want you to just understand the unit. The most important unit that we will be using is called M. And one of them will be RAM that I will be using. M and RAM. Now, what are the other units? We have pixel. What other unit? We have points for the text font size. What are other units? We have VW, viewport width. And we have VH, viewport height. And I think this is enough. We'll just talk about that one. M is very important. What is this M font size? I'll just tell you. M unit in CSS. M. Yes, exactly. So there is it's here, and you shared the link, Matthew. So these are you know these stylings. And if you talk about this, let's talk about this M. M is a relative to font size of the element. 2M means 2 times of the size of the current font. And this is something wonderful. You know, by default, there is a font size on our page. And if we go in styling, and you know, we can just do the styling, and I say paragraph, the font size should be 1M. If I say 1M, see here, 1M means whatever is the size of my parent. My parent means the root element. I am 1M, like same 1 unit of that one. Now here comes an interesting thing. When you come here, you might have done that. You go to the body, and for the body you say, or for example, HTML and body. You say HTML or body, both should have the font size. For example, I say font size should be 50 pixel in the body, which is too very big. So let's say 20 pixel. Now see here. So if HTML and body, the parent of all, have the size 20 pixel, 1M actually represents the 20 pixel. I'm trying to make a point over here. If I write 2M, now, can anyone tell me what is the font size of this paragraph now? When I say 2M, 2M means twice the size of my parent, and my parent is 20 pixel. So I say 2M, twice the size of my parent. Make sense, everyone? I'm about to tell you something very interesting because that would create a little mess for us. I'll just do something over here. I'll just come here and I'll put a div here. Right? I'm putting a div and I'll just give a description. This is a test div here, H1, and inside that there is a paragraph, and paragraph is I am a paragraph inside div. Now see here. We have just created this is a test div and it has an H1 and this is all. Now listen about this one. This is very important. When I say P font size is equal to 2M. So come back. This P has a parent of div. Right? Now, if I just, and if I tell you, for example, if I just write font size 2M, let's make it 1M first of all. Paragraph is 1M, right? So paragraph, wherever it is coming, it should be of 1M size. Make sense, everyone? And how about if I come here and I say div, whenever div comes, its font size should be, for example, 2M. Now, this is quite an interesting thing. I says that div should have 2M. So do you understand that div should have a twice as the size of its parent? And the paragraph inside, if it says 2M, it's actually multiplied by this and multiplied by the parent, because div is taking from the parent and this paragraph will be taking from the div. So now if I just do that, you will see this div has gone a longer way. Why? Because this P is taking from its parent style. Are you guys understanding what I'm trying to make? So P says I'm 2M of my parent. And div says I am 2M of my parent. So do you know this P would have gone maybe 4 times, 8 times? Are you guys getting that one? Twice the size of its parent, and parent is going twice the size of its parent. Are you guys getting that one? What I'm trying to say here? For that reason, the unit that we use, so the M works relative to M works relative to the parent. Instead of M, we use RAM. RAM. Now, I'll tell you what do you mean by RAM. If I say 2 RAM, 2 RAM. First of all, look at the text. It has gone a bit smaller, but you know what has happened? 2 RAM means go to the root element. Whatever is the size, just multiply it by 2. Valentine, do you understand? This RAM works relative to the root element, not the parent element. Grandparent. Everyone else understood this? Valentine has asked a question, and I think you guys understood this. RAM and M, I'll be using RAM M a lot of time. And it's very interesting, by the way. Make sense, everyone? Okay. How about another idea? My big question. There are a lot of web fonts that are available online. Google has fonts, Google Fonts. Let's first of all show you Google Fonts. Have you guys used these Google Fonts in your web pages ever before? Of course you should have. Valentine, did you guys use that? The Google Fonts, like the different fonts of the website, which are there? Yes or no? There are lots of interesting fonts and I can use most of them. Okay, you guys have used that. Valentine says not really. Ashley says yes. So there is a mix of that. Anyhow, no problem. Now see here, how to use that. So for example, this is Google font. And if I want to use this font, I'll come back over here right? And for example, I select this regular 400. When I click on this, look at that, how will I use that? When I click on this, I get its import and link option. I will go for the import one. I can use both of them. By the way, I'll go to the link first of all. If I just say, if I take this link part and I copy this, all this, copy. And I come back over here and the link should go in my HTML file. So I go after the style sheet. See here, I paste all those files that I've copied from here over here. Make sense, everyone? Now look at that. How to use that font family, Fuggles or cursive. I'll select this font family from here, Control C. I'll come back over here and in the styling, I'll say, for example, for paragraph, font size should be 2 rem and font family should be Fuggles or whatever is the name of that one. Are you guys getting that one? Look at my web page, what will happen to it. Look at my web page, what will happen to it. If I hit save, look at that, my font is changed and this blue color is looking very bad. And I can just change that one, but let's see the other paragraphs. Do you see that this font has come in my font? Isn't that interesting? Because now you can use a lot of font. Now I'll tell you both of the ways to use that font. I've told you that's only the one. Now, again, like, once we have just used this font and we have just, taken that one. Now, if you see here, let me just show you. This Fuggles font. If you want some other font, you just select that one. For example, I like this font, for example. I select that and I'll close this one. And I say that I like this one, like 300. I select that one. And what I'll do is that I'll just hit a refresh. You can have a look at that. This page will come. Now it has. So now I want to use this font, but not with the link, with the import. I go to import, copy the imports, and I will not copy all. I'll just copy this import statement, at import. Import this from here, Control C. Whenever you just copy the at import, you can go to your CSS, not the HTML, and go to the very top in your CSS, go to the very top and paste that import. Paste that import over here. And it's basically still for the Fuggles, but again, no problem. I'll just, see that. So I've just, got that one. And now I can just copy this one and I can use it anywhere I want. Just give me a second. It adds actually both of them. So I'll just remove the Fuggle from here. I'll just keep this one. So import again, I'm just copying this one. Import copy. Go there. Select that. This has come as, the font that we have selected. And what is that font? This is enter, whatever. And now I'll just take this one. I'll copy this, come back, and I'll say, for example, the paragraph font family should be not Fuggles. It should be like this. Enter. If I hit save and I show you. Now my font has changed and it is now a different font. And why not? Let's make it size default. Don't change the style font. Do you guys see that? Now, can you use these fonts now in your websites? Lots of fonts, interesting fonts that you would be able to use that now. So there are lots of websites, font size, defont, and there are the font, Google Fonts, Font Squirrel. There are lots of websites. You can always import. Like the process will be import the import statement over here, and you can apply that on the stylings. Everyone got that? Ethan, Manny, Muhammad, did you guys get it? How to use these fonts? Wonderful. That's wonderful. Wonderful. Okay. So one more thing that you would have seen, and I would like to talk about that one as well. Okay, yes, I'll just talk about that one maybe in some coming classes. Okay, so this is the CSS that we have done. Now, today, as I told you, you are going to get your front end's first QAP one, and it will be available just right after this session. And I will just update the document, but you have to apply the stylings as well. You have to keep few things in mind. No red color elements over here. It means you'll have to apply the stylings for that one, and try to use as much as semantic elements as we have talked about. You might want to go for example, I'm just giving I'm just giving you a starter, quick starter for our QAP1. So I'll just make a new page, and again, just for the reference, I'm making this QAP1.html. You might be making your own. So you might want to start like this. First of all, of course, the main chorus should be there, and then you might want to go with those like elements that we have. Header, in the header you might want to put a nav, for example. It's up to you. After header you might want to go a main section. After main you might want to go for, it's up to you. Maybe you want to go for the footer. So a basic document of your document should look like this. Again, first of all, syntactically, it should have head, body, and HTML. If you are missing any one of them, your page will be, considered as invalid page. After that, in body, if you are using header, nav, and main and footer, that would be much more good for your semantical meanings of the document. Are you guys getting that? Try to put your all links over here. You will put your links here, right? You will put some header information, some header info here, information here, right? And you will put your main course of the document, whatever you are making, the main text here. And again, here you would like to do that same thing that I did. Here you might want to make a copy, right? And with your name, whatever, and you write 2023. And you might want to go for a web page like this, structurally, semantically, and syntactically. Are you guys getting that one? I hope everyone is understanding that you will be going to the document like this. So QAP1 is along the way, and you will just get shortly after that. And again, I would like you to apply stylings as well as much as possible, but try to keep things as simple as possible. It should not be too much complex. Use an external, like a standard style sheet. For example, you may have QAP1 style.css or QAP1.css, and this has to be. Yeah, yeah, this is the case tool. Yes, very simple. We have to keep it, right? Okay, so thank you very much, everyone, for joining in. I hope you enjoyed today's session. I hope you learned something new in CSS, because you had already studied CSS, but did you find something new in the CSS as well? A quick question. Did you find something new in CSS? Okay, that's wonderful. Front end 21 September. Wonderful. Oh, that's wonderful. So let's do that. Oh, very good. So many you were having problems before that, like understanding the CSS part. I hope now this would be. Oh, Kyla, that's wonderful. Kyla, that's very good to know. That's very good to know that you guys are understanding and you are learning. And okay, thank you very much. Thank you, Mitchell. And so thank you, everyone, and enjoy your day. Oh, Matthew, thank you. Matthew, thank you very much for that. Okay, Matthew, thank you. Okay, all of you have a good day.